A big budget international co-production science fiction movie from the director of The Fifth Element, starring cast members from Suicide Squad and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Rihanna. Valerian, folks. It looks like a mixed bag. Space Station Alpha is a sort of interplanetary safe zone where thousands of different species live together in relative harmony. But a dead zone of radiation and infection is growing in the centre of the station, and nobody is sure exactly why. It seems like it might have something to do with a vision received by Interplanetary Federal Agent Valerian, who, along with his partner Laureline, investigates to find out more and save Alpha, the city of 1,000 planets. The plot's hard to recap because it's essentially very episodic. It's sort of a series of misadventures and capers that Laureline and Valerian get into while their relationship develops and they discover more about the mystery at the heart of Alpha. Episodic is often used as a derogatory term when it describes plot, but to be honest, for me, as long as each one of those episodes is interesting, I don't get the problem, as long as it all ties together in a conclusion by the end, which this one does. Valerian is a little overlong, but it does pack its runtime with this incredible production design, which is backed up by some really odd ideas for set pieces and characters. The opening mission, which kicks off the whole plot, really showcases this. Valerian and Laureline are investigating a black market on an alien planet, with the twist being that the market itself is in a different dimension to the rest of that planet. So when you go there, you have to put on these special goggles and gloves to be able to see and interact with this other world. You can also use transmatter boxes to put objects from your world into theirs. So when Valerian's mission goes wrong, he's able to push his gun into their universe and interact with them. So he's just this gun box floating around in this really crowded market scene, intercut with him running with half an arm in this empty desert space. It's a really weird idea for a set piece, but it does lay out the film's approach to sci-fi in there, which is to say that anything goes as long as you can set up a rule for it at the start. I'd be lying if I said the writing was good in an objective sense. Like I said, the plot doesn't really line up a lot of the time, and there's a lot of convenient stuff that happens to enable things to get to where they need to be. Not only that, but there's this whole romance subplot between Valerian and Laureline, which is just not convincing, I think, fundamentally. Their chemistry works really well as friends in the film. It doesn't then line up as being a romantic one by the end of it. Part of that might be that Cara Delevingne is just not that good of an actor. She's a model, really, and I don't mean that to disparage models. And after all, Luc Besson has worked really well with models like Mila Jovovich. She's at her best when she plays Laureline as a sort of straight-faced, slightly uptight foil to Valerian, Dane DeHaan's comic reliefy, swaggering Han Solo type character. When the two of them are together on screen, you can see why Besson cast it like this. When she's on her own, which happens for a not insignificant amount of the runtime of the film, it doesn't quite work. Dane DeHaan, who I feel is a little underrated as an actor, puts in a really solid performance here, and there are some nice cameos from people like Rihanna, who is actually kind of alright in this. She plays quite a performative role, which I think works really well for someone who's coming into it from a non-acting background. And Ethan Hawke, weirdly, for a couple of minutes. The best thing about Valerian is undoubtedly its visuals, specifically its production design and CGI. I was reminded of seeing Fifth Element for the first time, where you can see Besson melding together a lot of different aesthetics, like this kind of space age thing and these weird 1920s styles, along with cyberpunk and other influences like that. It's almost like a pastiche of Blade Runner made in a kind of day-glow, bubblegum, neon kind of style. Valerian has a similar aesthetic, but also gets to play with this diversity of alien races, and it's really nice to see aliens in a movie that aren't just rubber forehead aliens / aliens with slightly wider spaced eyes. J.J. Abrams, I'm looking at you. Here we get shape-shifting water people, tentacle people, living robots. That's really nice, and it helps bring the film to life when the writing is quite often not up to par. I can't say that Valerian changed my mind on anything. I can't say that I left the cinema and had a different idea about how to interact with the world. But for the 2 hours and 27 minutes, which is a few too many, that it fills on screen, Valerian spends its time exploring innovative, interesting approaches to science fiction, both visually and in terms of concepts as well. And considering that it's the most expensive independent film ever, I feel like that's kind of a significant achievement. And hey, if you have seen Valerian, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I'd love to find out your opinions about this somewhat divisive film. And if you haven't already, click subscribe to get the next video when it comes out. That's all from me. Have a good one. See you next time.